Hello friends, in our series Terms in Linguistics Explained, we have got Pidgin today. And Pidgin is actually a system of communication. A system of communication means, see, suppose, let's say Nigeria. And England here. And Englishmen, they go to Nigeria. They colonize it. What happens is that between them they have no common language to communicate. Nigerians don't know English and English people don't know Nigerian. So what do? They develop a kind of a system just for communicating, say maybe for business purposes or for maybe some cultural exchange and so on. So in such a situation, a new system develops. See, some part of Nigerian and some part of, you have got a new system. And this new system of communication is called Pidgin. So what is Pidgin? Pidgin is a system of communication which has grown up or developed among people who do not have or do not share a common language. So if you want as a definition of Pidgin, simple definition is, it is a system of communication. A system of communication. So that's the basic point. A system of communication. And how does it develop? Developed among people. Developed among people. Say 2 groups or 3 groups it can be, who do not share a common language. People who do not share a common language. They don't have a common language. English people, they have their language. Nigerians, they have their language. So what happens is that they develop a system. A system of communication developed among people who do not share a common language, who want to talk to each other. At the same time, they want to communicate, they want to talk to each other. It can be for trading purposes or other reasons or cultural or religious, whatever it is. Some people call it makeshift, marginal or mixed language. So it's called as marginal language, marginal or makeshift language or marginal language, makeshift language, or what do you call, the mixed language, makeshift language or mixed language, makeshift, temporary, makeshift or mixed language. So these are other names for Pidgin. Now what happens here is that they have got a limited vocabulary. The structures will be limited. Grammatical structures, that's what I meant by structures. And also the range of functions also will be narrow, very narrow. So number of vocabulary limited, words limited, maybe borrowed from both or some kind of changes they might have made. So the grammar is reduced grammar. You cannot have all those paraphernalia of what you call clauses and things like that, and also narrow. Now a classic example for language change. In social linguistics, Pidgin has a very important role in the sense that there is a classic example for linguistic change or language change. Now what happens is that some people they confuse this with baby talk. See that? Or it's a corruptive form of language, or broken down language, or primitive thought process, or mental deficiency. It's not like that. It's not, it's creative. You cannot say that Pidgin is a result of some mental deficiency. You cannot say it is the baby talk. It is the develops from the baby talk. No, not at all. Or corruptive form, maybe some reason that might cause corruption. No, not at all. Then what else? Not primitive thought process, but it is creative. It's a creative adaptations of natural languages with a structure and rules of their own. Understand? See, for example, in computer you use like this now, for you. This is not Pidgin. Or to me. This is not Pidgin. See, baby talk is not a Pidgin. Then what is it? It is, we can say, creative adaptations. It's creative. It requires intelligence. Not that it comes automatically or anything like that. It is, so first we have seen that it is a system of communication which is grown up among people who do not share a common language but they want to talk. Then, secondly we saw that it should not be confused with baby talk and all those things. And computer language that you are using, short forms and computer, that is not Pidgin. Then what is it? It is a creative adaptation. Creative adaptation. Adaptation by people. It's a creative adaptation of natural languages. Of natural languages. Creative adaptation of natural languages with, as I have already told you, with a structure and rules of their own. So they have got a structure, then they have rules and vocabulary and style. All what you find in a language, a fully developed language, you will also find here. So now what happens is, then people start using Pidgin. You say Pidginization. Pidginization. So Pidginization took place wherever you find colonized and colonized. Naturally, and that's one of the reasons for this, Pidginization. When a Pidgin becomes lingua franca of an area, you call it expanded Pidgin. Expanded Pidgin. For example, in expanded Pidgin, you have it in West Indies, you have Papua New Guinea, you have Nigeria, English-based Pidgins, French-based Pidgins, Spanish-based Pidgins, Dutch-based Pidgins, Portuguese-based. So most of these Pidgins are based on European languages. Understand? So adaptation. Once you adapt, create a new system, you call it that process is called Pidginization. When a Pidgin becomes lingua franca of an area or of a people for communication, as a common language of communication, you call it expanded Pidgin, and or an auxiliary language, a regular auxiliary language you can see. See, that is the role of Pidgin. And now what happens is that sometimes there are non-European Pidgins also. For you have a Chinook jargon used by American Indians in northwest USA. American Indians use a kind of Pidgin that is in northwest USA. That has nothing to do with colonization, probably that developed within that speech community. Understand that? And you find that, see, what I have written here, this is from a Pidgin named Creole. Creole, that is the meaning, Creole. Now this is the Pidginized version of Mercantilist speech in Julius Caesar. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. So in the Pidgin, called the Creole, they said like this: party them, country, una ojo, way they na wrong. That is what they, you can understand, we can also understand because we have got that original text with us. Understand? Then there is another Pidgin, famous Pidgin is Tok Pisin. Tok Pisin. Tok Pisin. Now Tok Pisin is a Pidgin used in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone. Understand? Then sorry, Creole is in Sierra Leone. Tok Pisin is Papua New Guinea. So that is. And there what do they do? They use friends, Romans, countrymen like this. So their version of their version of friends, Romans, countrymen. You can see Creole is Sierra Leone. If I made a mistake, I want to repeat it again. And talk Pidgin is in Papua New Guinea, you know, isn't it? So in Papua New Guinea, that is talk Pidgin. In that Pidgin, they write Pren man bolong wrong. Pren man bolong wrong. That is friends, Romans, countrymen. That's it. Friends. Then you have got Romans, countrymen. That is, so they say like this: Pren man bolong wrong. One dog having now. One dog having now. That is. So this is how this. So this is, I told you, Creole, and this is talk Pidgin. Isn't it? Talk Pidgin. So the first one is a version, that is Creole version. Second is talk Pidgin. Talk Pidgin used in Sierra Leone. So to sum up, what I was trying to tell you is, Pidgin is a classic example for linguistics in social linguistics. You know, studying the influence of social life on language. This is a classic example, that is Pidgin. Now it is a system of communication which develops out of necessity, so to say. Necessity is the mother of invention. No? Grown up among people who do not share a common language, but who want it. In the sense that they want to talk, they want to exchange their ideas, they want to get into trade relationship and so on. So some people call it makeshift language, mixed language or marginal language. Well, at the same time, we should not think that it is something like baby talk, or it is something that is not, as a people who use mentally deficient, mentally challenged people use language. That is called Pidgin, no such thing, but it is a creative adaptation with a structure of its own, rules of its own, grammar of its own, vocabulary of its own, and style of its own. Now, sometimes what happens, now this adaptation process is known as Pidginization. When a Pidgin becomes lingua franca of an area or a people, means common language, you call it expanded Pidgin or regular auxiliary language. Understand? Regular auxiliary language. Most of the time, the Pidgins are based on European languages. So you have got English Pidgin, French Pidgin, and so on. But at times what you find is, Pidgins develop even within a speech community. As I already told you, American Indians in northwestern USA. They use a special type of Pidgin, and that not because of the influence of any foreign country or any foreign language. It so happened like that. And then you see, when a language becomes expanded or when it becomes lingua franca, it is used on radio, in print, and also you will find it in literature. Even they have got their own literature. And two very famous, you can say, Pidgins are, one is Creole, used as I told you in Sierra Leone, and the other is talk Pidgin, used in Papua New Guinea. And I will give you the example too, that is friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Now that is how they in Creole and in talk Pidgin. I think it is now clear once again. It's a system of language, a system of communication which develops or which has grown up among people who do not share a common language but who want to talk to each other and communicate. It is an adaptation, yes. It is a system, it's a creative adaptation, not any as you think. Very deliberate and creative adaptation. Hope that it is clear. Bye. See you with another concept. Till then, have a nice time. Enjoy your life.